But no, Beth York goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marbles. Kayla versus Allison and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory. Hello everybody and welcome back here to the CVR World Cup Mixer page. As always, my name is Jesper Anker, I'm your guide, I'm your host here on this Mixer page. And today, we've got 3 more zones of racing of the CVRcade World Cup run-up. And it's starting to get serious because today is going to be the last day in a while where it's not going to be team-oriented. It's individuals, you're out here testing because from Tuesday, we're going to shake up the racing format. It's going to be different. Today is the day for individual glory. If you want your name at the top spot of that podium, today is the day to do it on your own and reap all the benefits. But as always, we've got racers streaming in from across the world here in Zone E on a Saturday. It's the only day of the week we do Zone E. It's a personal favorite of mine because if you look at the field who's ready to race, we've got Sebastian Kuhn out of Germany racing for Team Cognition. He's ready to go. We've got Quentin Molines who is in here from Team Cycling Hub. He had a strong victory on Thursday. Niels Heldens as well, the Tempest of Team Cycling Hub. We all remember last weekend in Saturday, him and Timothy going head to head. We've also got Carl Axel Sander joining us back in again on this lovely Saturday. Well, for some it's a morning, for some it's an afternoon. Depends on where you are in the world. Timothy Tamot is also in here. I'm not sure if he's washed that t-shirt since the last time he's used it, but he's back in here racing again. And then we've got Tim Fulford as well, the beast from Team Cycling Hub. And last but not least, early over in Massachusetts, we've got Beth York joining us from Velocity Vixen. But I want to hear from Niels Heldens first, because last Saturday I was in here, I made my inaugural return to racing, and Niels, it was you versus Timothy. How about this week? Is this going to be the rematch?
Not really, I think Quentin and Tim will surely try to make it a 4-way battle for the win today. So it's not going to be quite a rematch, but we'll see what happens.
How about the tracks today? Because they're like, it's a very short and like quick set of races. There's no 5 laps of Rocky Mountains or 20 laps of Summit Islands. What do you make of today's races?
Yeah, they're quite good. The courses suit me because they're all sort of power oriented. So yeah, I prefer to see a bit more climbing, but courses are all right.
Well, I'll let you get to it. Echelon is up here first here. Niels Heldens, you heard from him. 1 minute to go. Let's get a quick word from Saturday's winner, Timothy Tamont. Timothy, we've seen the highlight that was posted in the email marketing campaign. Are you going to celebrate before or after the line today if you end up winning?
Yeah, I was about to say if I end up celebrating, because, man, do I feel bad. But hey, we're on the bike, we're going, so just going to give it everything.
Well, if you do feel like you're ending up to be sick, just let us know here in the broadcasting booth so we can cut to you.
Oh, not sick, just extremely tired.
Oh. Well, that is what happens when you wake up 2 minutes before race time. Good luck, Timothy.
15
here.
minutes. 15.
That's not much better. Well, Timothy, good luck here in the next race. We're starting 15 seconds. But everybody tuning in over on Mixer, everyone watching the VOD on YouTube, the highlights on Facebook. This is going to be good. It's going to be exciting because from next week onwards, from Tuesday, we're going to do team testing events because Season 2 of the CVRcade World Cup will be team-oriented. And there is I think the civil blocker called the team sarcastically something something. I call them the Pink Panthers because their name is still pending. It's going to be fun to see how they fare. There's CCC, which seems to be imploding. Team Cycling Hub, now that I've had the pleasure of racing against them not once but twice, oh my god, can they make your legs hurt. Like, unreal what those guys can do when they're on a bike on CVRcade. But it looks like Homer's in here as well today. Homer, not in the broadcast, but he's in the racing. And we saw what he did on Summit Islands Thursday. He's got that course nailed down. It's one of his favorite tracks. We'll see what he can do here today, but he's not off to a hot start as we go back up to Timothy Tamont here and Quinton Molyneux. Quinton just taking a leisurely stroll here. He's happy. Timothy with the thumbs up. From having ridden a low skill event, formerly a no skill event, these are so much fun. Like, they're so good to just get the legs going, just get the morale pumping, because in this race everyone feels like they've got a chance of winning, because it just comes down to timing your sprint, not losing the draft, and then someone like Tim goes, you know what, I'm not happy with this, I'm gonna go on the attack, and he puts in a bit of a dig here. So 1200 watts, he's got a gap, but it's not a significant gap. And with the, with the drafting percentages in the group behind, this is going to be a tough task to stay away with. So I think Tim was just activating the legs, trying to get ready for the sprint here as Sebastian goes on through. But it is borderline impossible to get into a breakaway on a low skill event. Purely because in the draft, you're going to get like 110%, 120%. And don't ask me how you can get above 100% draft. I'm not sure what the physics are on that. But you're essentially gaining 3 watts in the group if you stay in here. But we've got 2 laps of Echelon. This is the first of 4 races. 1-time scoring multiplier, meaning you take home 30 points if you end up winning. Last Saturday, the storyline was Niels Heldens, the Tempest, versus Timothy Tamont, who I think is, like, he's got so many nicknames, yet he's also got no nicknames. So, but that was really fascinating to see the two go head to head last Saturday, where every single sprint would come down to the wire. But today, Niels has got reinforcements. Oh, here we go again. We see at a potential move on the right, nobody goes. Homer Thompson using his comeback kit further down. He's 20 seconds back. It's going to be a tough task to get back as we're on the final lap of Echelon. Who's going to go first? Somebody's going to the right here again. I think it's Carl Axel Sander who wants to get to the back of the group, but he's playing with fire. He does it again. So he goes to the front and he goes out as he wants to move back. He's spending a lot of energy. And now Tim goes to the back. Beware. I think a comeback kit is coming here. 1400 equalized watts. I'm not sure what that was. Everybody's just kind of playing with each other. Everybody's just figuring out who's got what, because what Carl did there and what Tim did there, neither make a lot of sense unless you're trying to open the legs. Unless you're somewhat fatigued and you feel like the legs need a bit of a jump start. Like, when your car breaks down, your Ford Mustang, it sits by the side of the road and you need somebody else to come and jump start it. That's kind of what it seems to be what Carl and Tim are doing currently. Now, the favorite for the sprint, like, I had the pleasure of winning Zone K on Thursday, but that was the first race, that was the low skill event, and that was purely down to just having like extra watts on my curve. Like, I really, really went hard. And so if you look at this and you think who's got the potential to win a sprint here, Quinton always seems to have that bit more. I know he's been hitting the gym as well, so perhaps his peak power is coming up. Timothy has won before on low skill events, especially on Kayla's mountain track. We've seen Nils do well. Homer could normally do okay in here, but we'll see. But Quinton, he's getting ready. He's sitting in here. He's barely opened his mouth yet. He hasn't had to breathe. He's just sat in here. The T1000 doesn't really care. As Carl Axel Sander again. What is this guy playing at? Goes to the right, comes on through, goes to the back, goes to the front, comes on back. He has got some alternative methods of playing. Now he's out of the draft. He's going to have to work hard to get back in here. You can see the increased effort there. Now he attacks over the top. 1100 watts, 55 kilometers an hour. He's got to commit. He's got a 3-second gap here, but it opens the possibility of a comeback kid. Further back here, you've got Timothy Tamont, you've got Quinton Molyneux, as it is Tim with a comeback kit closing it up. Quinton comes on through. He moves through 1. He moves through 2. And now Timothy with his comeback kit is going to come through Tim Fulford. Going to come through Carl Axel Sander. And 200 meters remain. They're both moving at the same pace. And I think Quinton Molyneux is going to take the win with Timothy Tamont crossing the line in second. That was a messy sprint. Let's try and dissect that one again. So as we bring up the instant replay here, you'll see Carl Axel Sander just throws a spanner in the works with his early attack. I think it catches a few off guard, and it makes it so that you have to react to it. Then Tim used his comeback kit early on to get back. Timothy, way back, builds up the momentum, comes through 1, not only 2, but by the time Timothy gets back, Quinton Molyneux has such a big advantage time-wise that it never even gets close. And if Quinton's heart rate is to be believed here, he's at 127 equalized heart rate. So definitely cruising through that one as we're coming on through. Quinton, that got messy. We saw Tim move on through. We saw Carl move on through. What was your perspective in there?
Well, it was a very easy warm-up race up until the sprint. So I saw Carl move a few times left to right. And I figured he was just going to try and lull us to sleep, which he tried to do, I think. He got the front, and then he actually went off the front right at the moment that I wanted to start falling back in the group. So I wasn't in the most optimal position, but I just started pushing right there because I knew that was the moment. And then I didn't see Tim going at the same time. All of a sudden he appeared on my screen, and I just kept my head down and just went for it.
Well, it worked out, Quinton. You took the win here. Let's go and hear from Tim, though, because the last time we were on CVR Loop, which I think we've only been once before, Tim put on a dominant display. But, Tim, you were unhappy, if I remember correctly, how others raced this one. I'm not sure if your audio is coming through or you're muted, but let's see if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Oh, I think Tim might have some microphone issues on his side as there's no audio coming through. We'll come back to him later on and get his take on CVR Loop. But Timothy, getting second place in that last race, that was a long wind-up. Are you still feeling as poor as you did before the race?
Even worse. But yeah, like you said, the few sprints from Tim and Carl, I'm pretty sure that was to open the legs. Like, yeah, it's just, you got to open them up for the sprint if you hadn't had much of a warm-up. So I didn't really sprint away at a high wattage, but I just kept a high cadence in the group to try and open them up a bit, because I felt a bit risky going up the front and then be open to getting spat at the back when they catch you. So just kept a high RPM there in the group. So I'm warmed up, but not feeling good.
Well, you've got 5 laps of CVR Loop, the longest race of the day ahead of you. What's the strategy?
Hang on. Yeah, we're just going to try and hang on. Second place at the moment. We'll see if we can keep that. Maybe jump up one more. You know, we're going to try.
Well, easier said than done. We'll see how it goes. We got Carl Axel Sander as well, who I believe should have audio working. I can see something coming through here. Carl, what were you doing? We saw you move out to the right, then back in. Out to the right, then back in. Was that mind games?
Yeah, hello Jesper. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, perfect. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that first, kind of moving aside was, I guess, just a new mental strategy. But I thought I did an attack there 700 meters to go, to make it look like the real attack. Then I think my strategy was to, go pretty hard, but not all out. So let them, the guys behind, catching up with comeback kid. And then I tried to, join that with immediately and throw my comeback hits, So I would be the one with comeback hit over the finish line. But I believe someone came up behind there from in and broke my comeback hit, so I really didn't get that effect. So, but I guess I'm happy with the further.
I was going to say, that's a lot of points to take home. I feel like you overcomplicated that race a lot compared to what we usually see.
Trying new things.
Well, this is the time to do it, Carl. Good luck here in the next race. I see we've got Tim back on audio. Tim, last time we were on Sci-Fi or Loop, you were quite critical of your opponents. Do you think they've learned from last time?
You can hear me. I don't know if you can.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. No, I mean, everyone races things differently, don't they? Well into Quinton on the last one, I knew with him on my wheel he was getting some help. I used my comeback, and then I sat up and braked, so Timothy's comeback died earlier, which brought him on through. You've got to work together in these longer races. What we've got 11 kilometers, so you can certainly lose on the first lap. You can't probably win it. So we'll keep plugging away. I've already done 2.5 hours outside today, so this is proper fatigue training, which I'm enjoying in probably a sadistic way. But yeah, we'll just see what happens. Might be a bot patrol.
Well, I was going to say, knowing you and Sebastian, the more tired you get, the more lethal you get as well in the game. So good luck to you, Tim. Good luck to everybody who we chatted to and who we didn't. We didn't quite get to Beth or to Nils in this chat, but we'll chat to them later on, depending on how they perform here. As we saw Beth last time on Sci-Fi R Loop. She was there, she was in a chance, and then it just gets difficult. This track, you can see the map down below. It's literally an R, and when you come to the second half of the track, there are some really tight corners that if you can kind of figure out the speeds of, you have a massive advantage over the rest here. As we get ready, Sci-Fi R Loop, it is a 2-time scoring multiplier. You have 2 weight lifteds, 2 inertias, and there is a 4-kilometer wind. And let me tell you this, whoever thought wind was a great idea in a virtual cycling game, I want their head on a cutting block. Because from my experience on Thursday, it's the most realistic thing ever, but wind just makes it so difficult to draft. And that's where the gameplay and the skill comes in. Someone like Casey, Quinton, Tim of Cycling Hub, they just have the drafting down, knowing where to sit, when to wind, when to move, when not to move. Those are the sort of decisions that make a Cade Pro versus a Cade Cadet. As we see Sebastian Kuhn in here, he's joined by Homer Thompson, his Cognition teammate, but he's the sole rider here in the front with Homer just on the back. There's a lot of blue tech cycles in there, different kits. You can see Cycling Hub on the back there. As the light from the left and the right side it's just lighting the avatars up. But this is going to be a tough race. I think we're going to see the beginning. It's going to be calm and composed. It's going to be rested. And then on the latter part here, every single time, I think we're going to see Tim push the opponents. So he's going to try and cause some doubt into their heads. So Sebastian Kuhn here goes onto the attack with Beth York as well. So both of them, just 1,000 equalized watts to try and get away. Tim's up there as well. So what I thought was going to be the case, out the window. We are less than, 1 kilometer in, and we already have attack. Sebastian just laying down the hood. The metronome is back, ladies and gentlemen. He's giving it everything he's got. Looking into the chasing group, 3rd place in the previous race was Carl Axel Sander. He was playing the mind games. He was trying to get into the head of his opponents, maybe at the expense of his own performance, but you've got to try things, you've got to test them out. Can he recover? Can he get back on? Then we have Timothy Tamont. His legs have been screaming at him. He woke up 15 minutes prior to the racing. Can he turn it around? This is a tough place to be so early in the racing. The elastic is about to snap, and he's got to get back on. Otherwise, it is good night San Diego, because Timothy Tamont will not get back in. But we're getting to the R bit. We're getting... Ooh! Sebastian Kuhn here, a 193 with an inertia on the front through the turn. So Sebastian wants to get up ahead. He wants to get into the distance here as Tim Fulford, 800 equalized watts into the tight turn here. It's another tight turn coming out. Jonathan Hilrone crashed here. Beth's crashed here. Oh, she bumps right into Tim, slowing down. Tim slows down to 28, not wanting to crash. Carl Axel Sander did bin it in that corner though. So maybe the mind game's not coming to fruition here as he goes down in the very tricky corner. There's one more tight corner here, and Beth has got to be careful. She's going to slide on through. Ooh, she nails that one. She's been practicing that one. She knew what to do as Sebastian, Beth, and Tim have a 3-second gap on the chasing group. 4-second. It consists of Quentin Molyneux, Timothy Tamont, Niels Heldens, and then Carl Axel Sander is further back. Fantastic racing from the front three, especially, like, what did Sebastian Kuhn have for breakfast this morning? He had some rye bread, some dry rye bread without butter, maybe a piece of a cold cut on the top here. He's ready. He's had his black coffee, maybe one, maybe two, maybe even a third one here, and he's ready just to chew up some riders on CVRcade. What better way? Carl Axel Sander, though, now has used his inertia, so he's trying to bridge away from Quentin, to bridge away from Timothy, and get back on. You get 2 inertias, and the inertia is really game defining. How you use it can make or break your race. I think we all saw Vibeke Bertram versus Tim Fulford on Summit Islands, where she was poised to take a grand victory over possibly one of the strongest riders on the platform. But oh, you got Tim as well. Tim is loading up another inertia. Here he comes. He's going to try and go over the top. But Vibeke trying to use her inertia. She mistimed it just a second, and then it didn't pan out. Looks like Tim opting to keep the inertia. So he's just going hard. Instead of using the inertia, he's using his legs. So weight lifted up to 60 kilometers an hour. He's got a 3-second gap. And I think the reason he's saving the inertia is he's seeing the impact this is having on Sebastian Kuhn. Sebastian has been distanced. He's out of the group. He is 1 inertia down. Carl is 1 inertia down. And it is deja vu from the after party of the CVRcade World Cup Season 1. It was Tim Fulford. It was Beth York in a head-to-head jousting duel on Sci-Fi R Loop. Tim got the better of Beth last time around. Well, Tim has been training outside. 2 hours in the legs. That will start to kick in later on. But Beth, it is very early in the morning. Here he goes. Tim uses his inertia into the headwind, trying to keep it high. Beth, at 192, she uses weight lifted. This is a tricky part because you've got to brake. This is the most technical section of the circuit. You have this sweeping left-hander, which you've got to be careful. Ooh. Beth's eyes just lit up like a Christmas tree as she thought she may have been it on that corner, just like Carl did on the previous track. But how they're using their weight lifteds, how they're using their inertias, it's like they're trying to get the opponent, they're trying to force out the power of the other rider. As Beth, ooh, every single time, this is like you're on the edge of your seat thinking, will they, won't they, will they crash, will they stay upright? But that is a good race on the front. If we go back to the chasing group, it is Niels Heldens down in the 3rd group on the road. Quentin Molyneux seems to have been lacking a bit of oomph on this one. Maybe the last one took it out of his legs as Niels is trying to get back in. Timothy is there as well. It's only Homer occupying the role of the bot patrol rider further down. But Niels, you can see he's calm, he's composed. He knows there's a lot of racing left. He's got his inertias, he's got his weight lifteds. He doesn't need to panic because after this, we've got Country Rally, we've got Dust Bowl Crit. Niels knows that if he can get a 3rd on this one, he's safe. And there's still so much racing left. There's 6 kilometers remaining here as we cut back to the front group. Beth just hanging on. But what we saw earlier was so fascinating because Tim looked like he was teeing up to use inertia. He was accelerating, he was going on through, and I think the reason why he didn't use inertia is because he was leaving it. He wanted Sebastian, he wanted Beth to use theirs. And that way, he'd be in a massive advantage coming in to an eventual sprint finish towards the end. But we're seeing Beth, we're seeing Tim not afraid to take turns on the front. Tim has taken one, now Beth's taken one. Now they're riding side by side as they're trying to get the ultimate drafting advantage here coming through this straightaway. They have a 10-second gap further down. If we bring down the scoreboard, you can see how this is affecting things. Both Tim and Beth had a subpar performance on the previous race here as Tim gets ready again. How does the man do it? 1,000 equalized watts. He stands up and he just puts the pressure on Beth once more. How far will she bend before she breaks? That's the question being asked right now by Tim Fulford. But as you briefly saw on the scoreboard, Tim 76 points, Beth 69, Sebastian 65, Neil 63, Quinton 62. This is only the second race of 4 today, so it is all up in the air still as we're coming through to the tight little turns, and I think Tim's gonna push into this headwind once more as he stands up and he knows this is where you can break the other person, as we've got Beth and Tim, these two riders pushing it to the front. I mean, every time we've been on Sci-Fi Arlo, Tim has just mastered this track, but Beth has not been far behind. Can she push through? Can she gain every marginal gain here as she goes to the edge? And no! Oh, robbed! Beth Yorick, let's see this time. Let's see that one on the instant replay. So Beth coming through the corner, and I think she's getting more and more tired as well, so she's taking more risks, because in order to win it all, you've got to be willing to risk it all. But when you're willing to risk it all, you're going to go down. And if we bring it up on the replay again, let's run it the second time, because notice her hand movement. Notice when her hand goes from the handlebar to brake, she's already halfway through the corner. See, she's not done it yet. She's not braking yet. She's not. Now she brakes, and she's already slid out 3 times before even hitting the brake button. So a calculated risk, but this now opens up the opportunity for Tim to be caught. No rider to work with. Sebastian uses inertia to get back up to Tim again. So this is Cognition taking over the mantle, and with Sebastian at 197 equalized heart rate, he is right there. But again, Niels Heldens, he did this in the after party races too. He just creeps on back. He just kind of finds his way in like a dog in a butcher shop, comes in through the back door, smells the sausages, and just goes, yeah, I'll take one of each. So he's got a chance to come back up. Despite crashing, Carl looks composed too. He sits on the wheel of Niels Heldens currently. So these two, I'm not sure what this is going to be working together or not. Carl might be waiting for Beth to try and figure something out. Timothy and Quinton are currently down in 6th and 7th. It looks like Quinton is just making sure to turn over the legs, keep some some fitness going here, trying to limit his losses potentially, because he sits in 5th. Pending a good result on Country Rally, he could still very much win this race. As we go back to the front, Sebastian Kuhn, Tim Fulford. Sebastian has used every single power-up just to get back on terms with Tim Fulford. So that is what it takes to get back on to the Bracketed Session Tournament champion of Season 1 in the CVRcade World Cup. But it's taken a lot out of Tim. Look on the right hand side, you can see the riders nearby list. 194 equalized heart rate for Tim, 195 for Sebastian, 193 for Niels, 190 for Carl, 184 for Quinton, who's now moved up 3 spots here, which also moves him up on the podium up to 3rd. So this is going to be wide open coming into Country Rally, which is the next race up. We're coming up to the last lap, and Sebastian is chasing hard. Tim has used, I think, 2 weight lifteds. I think he's still got his inertias. The question will be, when does he choose to use it? The side-by-side shot here of Sebastian, Tim, they're standing up. They're just trying to get every single advantage. And it's unreal, the anaerobic efforts that they're putting out again and again and again. I mean, these workouts are unreal. As now Sebastian almost crashes. But if we go back, now we see the secondary riders starting to use their power-ups. Timothy is loading up an inertia here to try and come on through. So we are on the tricky part of the R-bend. He comes on through. He's in 6th. Quinton has moved up to 5th. He saved his energy. I think he's a dark horse here to take a potential 2nd place. I think we could see Sebastian fade. I think Quinton could come through, take over Niels, take over Carl. But does he want to? Does he want to dig that deep? That is the question. Niels finds himself in 4th. He's fighting Carl Axel Sander of Velocity Vixen for important points. I mean, this Omnium is wide open. As we now see Carl weight lifted, 1000 equalized watts, as he's pushing everything. Look at that cadence. Who turned on the washing machine? And there goes his inertia. He rests up. He's at 62. He's going to catch back up to Seb. Seb is only 5 seconds off of Tim. But Tim has not used inertia. Will Seb attempt a block? We go on board. Carl goes left. Does he go right? He goes right. Seb doesn't block. The speed is still on Carl's side. He needs to come out of this inertia and stay on top of it here, because he's got a legitimate chance of getting back to Tim with 1.5 kilometers remaining. But here comes Tim. Weight lifted. Get ready for the inertia of dreams. I think he's ready to use 154. He's at the top here, 191. He comes on through, and now he gets his first rest of CVR loop at 52 kilometers an hour. 10 above second place. And now Niels further down uses his as well. He uses it at 54. And so he's trying to get back on to Sebastian. Look at these heart rates. If we cut to the side-by-side shot here on the front, you'll see the unreal heart rates on display. 194, 190, 194, 194, 185. I mean, these riders are giving it everything to stay away here on CVR loop. I mean, to get a front, to race like this, you've got to have the heart of a champion. And every single racer today has shown it so far. We're only in the 2nd race. But Tim has an advantage of 11 seconds. I don't think he'll get caught. I think he's got this one in the back, winning his 3rd appearance here on CVR loop. Is it too early to crown him the king of CVR loop? Well, you tell me in the chat. Or is he just the prince? But Tim goes on to win this one. Carl in 2nd place. He's got to keep off a hungry Niels Heldens in 2nd place. He's fighting with Sebastian. Does he have an inertia left? Anything left? 400 meters here. Tim comes on through. Niels passes Sebastian and uses an inertia at 47. That's quite clever, because into this headwind, it can be difficult to maintain that speed. Quentin further down. It's going to be tough for him. It's going to be a close finish here to the line. Tim is in the front. He's got 200 meters remaining. He's got one more turn left. Carl comes through. 100 meters left. We cut to the front here of Tim and Carl, as Tim is going to win the stage here on CVR loop. Further down in 2nd place, Carl Axel Sander is going to take 2nd. Niels just doesn't have it, as Carl's got to be careful he doesn't slide out. Oh, and Sebastian, no, he goes down. Niels takes a 3rd place here. Sebastian will get overhauled by Quinton coming to the line. Timothy is too far back. He's got no chance, but I love the bravery from Sebastian Kuhn, willing to risk it all. He came out not wanting to submit, wanting to take the initiative and come on through. Timothy, great racing here. He's at 167 equalized heart rate. He just wants to finish at this point and move on to country rally. And then we've also got Beth York, who was up there with a chance. For like 2.5 laps, she was there. She was there with Tim. But when you're in that level of hurt, when you're in that zone where you just can't maintain it for that much longer, and then you start thinking, I've got to just take these chances, and that's when you go down. I mean, the crash was inevitable, but you got to admire the spirit to go that hard. Let's have a look at the instant replay again as we get ready for Country Rally, the next race up. So we've got Niels Heldens here coming on through. I'm not sure what's happening with the events here, so if anybody's watching and racing, I'm not sure it's taken anybody to the next event already, as there might be a bit of a bug the team is looking into, but the next race up is Country Rally if we can get there. But Sebastian Kuhn trying to come on through and seeing if he can, really make a difference, get the last few points away from Niels, as it does make the difference on the scoreboard by about 8 points actually. So a big point differential, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Now, it doesn't look like the results have confirmed, so the team is aware and looking into it. So just be aware that some news may come on what to do next very shortly. But in the meanwhile, let's go and chat to Tim. Tim, congratulations on the win. We saw everybody at 195 or above heart rate. What is it about this track that just causes these immense efforts?
I think it's because the flat has a headwind on it. So you're going to have to work regardless. And it's sort of first half is power, second half is a little bit more finesse, but it's still got some climbs in it. So it's unlucky for Beth. I thought we could really work it there, and when she crashed, I signed my own death warrant. So it was 190 above all the way home, really, and it turned it into power counting. Once I saw Seb use his last inertia, I thought I probably had it. Yeah, it's a tough course, but it's good. It's good.
Now, for everybody, there is an update on the events. Don't panic. We'll be going to the next event. There's a moderator coming in to force start the next event, so you get a bit more of a rest. We'll be racing in just a few seconds as we get ready to force start Country Rally coming up after this. But Tim, that was amazing to watch. I mean, 3 for 3 on Sci-Fi R Loop. What is it you like particularly so much about this track?
Sorry, is that me?
Yes.
Oh, it's probably, the corner speeds, you can gain a lot of time. Like the just before sort of the middle of the R, I suppose you've got 50, and if you can take as much speed into that as possible, you get some help up the next climb, which is a little sharp. And then I still don't know what the final corner speeds are, but I was getting around them at 40, 35, and 36, so that's what I did on each lap.
Now let's go and hear from Sebastian, because Sebastian, you seem like you were a man on a mission in that last race. From the gun, you attacked, then in the middle, you attacked, and at the end, you attacked. What was the plan there?
The plan was to make it interesting for the other racers and for the visitors. It's boring if nobody attacks, so no risk, no fun.
I love that mentality, but was there ever a point where you're thinking, what am I doing to myself? I mean, you've used both inertias, both weight lifted. Is there never a point where your legs go, Sebastian, should we just dial it back a tiny bit?
Yeah, 1 second after the start, this feeling comes up. A bit less.
Oh, I love that, Sebastian. That is funny. I think, everybody, the next event should start. If you see at the top of your event, you can click to go to the next one, I believe. So hopefully you should be able to go to the next event. But thank you, Sebastian. I'll let you click the next event. So everybody racing, if you're listening, the next event has been started, or it will start in 5 minutes. Just above your screen, you just got to click join next event, and we will be going into that. But let's go and hear from Beth, because Beth, I mean, you were there. It was deja vu all over again. It was like in December. Talk to me, what's it like being there on Tim Fulford's wheel and just thinking, I've got to stay on this for another 2 laps?
Well, Tim has an incredible level of confidence, and he was giving little punches, and I was trying to match him, and on that crash, it comes up to that corner where the speed differential from the first half to the second half is quite steep. So I knew that I had a chance to sort of close down the gap he was trying to get when he slowed down in the corner. So I punched it, and I'm tapping on my brakes. I think I got like 41.2, so like 2/100ths of a, or 2/10ths of a K. That was the difference of the crash there. So, but I tend to, it's a good learning because I tend to over brake, and it costs me more because then I find myself needing to, come out of the corner faster than I want to, and that causes problems too. So it was a good little test on that particular tight turn. And then I felt this clicking noise on my bike, and I'm like, oh no. So anyway, that was a lot of fun. My bike the skewer loosened up a little bit, but I'm fine. Nothing to worry about. So good fun. I'll get him one of these days.
I was going to say just another 3 times on that one, and you'll get through all the laps with the front group. But it's good to see you in there,
Yeah.
Beth. That was just a heartbreak when you went down. I'll let you get ready for the next
Yeah.
one. Let's get a word from Niels Heldens as well, because Niels, You were just hanging on, you were there, you were making up the gaps. What was your experience in that last race?
It was quite hard with the wind, like Tim said. Yeah, I got a bit caught up with Seb's attack in the beginning, and then had to chase. I was with Quinton and Timothy early on in the race, and brought the back close gap to Carl and Seb, and then went with them to the line. Carl was a bit smaller with his power ups, I think, and that resulted in him coming in second, me in third. I saw Seb coming into the final corner quite quickly, and I thought, well, this is either going to go very wrong for me or very wrong for him. And lucky for me, it went wrong for him. But yeah, strong effort by Tim, Seb, and Carl, and Quinton as well because he came back, and Beth as well, unfortunately.
Basically everybody, because that was just a mad race. Well, Nils, I'll let you get ready because I think everybody needs to get mentally prepared for this next race because there's a great responsibility available in this next race. There's great responsibility, there's corner caper, and there's inertia. Now, that's going to make for great racing. Now, I anticipate the great responsibility has the most efficient use right out of the gate. Like, it saves you the initial sprint, you use it, you get corner caper, and you get inertia. That's where I think it has the most potential to be used, but somebody may think you can use it in the sprint. Who knows? But great responsibility, inertia, corner caper, this is going to be carnage. It's going to be on the opposite scale of the last race. This is a rhythm track. You've got to find your way through. You've got to dodge the hay bales. You've got to dodge Bonnie the barn door, and you've got to dodge the logs on the end. It's the second to last race of the day. 2.5 scoring multiplier. This is going to shake up the overall Omnium. And with 10 seconds to go, let's get ready and see who's going to take the victory on 4 laps of Country Rally. Who's going to be brave enough to use that great responsibility right out of the gate? We keep an eye on the scoreboard. So far, nobody. Everybody just choosing to save it for later. Sebastian Kuhn, 1000 equalized watts here, 177, 180 equalized heart rate. So it looks like Sebastian is relatively fresh. His heart is responding. He uses corner caper there in through the corner. Tim has got great responsibility, but Tim with corner caper so he doesn't slide out. And then he comes on through, and now with inertia on the front, Tim's got to dodge these hay bales like he's ever dodged before as it's left, right, left, up, down. So, oh, and he crashes. Oh, he knows that was going to happen too. But so does Sebastian. Sebastian doesn't dodge the hay bales. And with great responsibility comes great power, comes great crashes. And just like that, Tim, Sebastian, down power-ups. Quinton has got his power-ups here. Somehow Tim is still on the front despite that crash. The issue though is, you can't really use great responsibility without corner caper because you will go down. But if you look at the scoreboard, let's cut to the dual screen here. We got Timothy in 5th. You've got Tim in 3rd right now. On the left, you'll see the scoreboard. Nils currently leading, 5 points ahead. But there's Quinton, there's Tim, and there's Carl just behind. But you gotta anticipate Tim with a stellar performance on Dust Bowl Crit. So if you want to win the last individual performance in quite a while here in Zone E, you have gotta really dig deep in this one because we all know what Tim is capable of on Dust Bowl Crit here as we come to the logs. Carl, Axel, Sander, the only rider staying with the front 4 or the front 3 Cycling Hub riders. He's done well here before. Him and Beth have done really well with Jeff Rooney from Velocity Vixen. As Sebastian Kuhn is attempting greater responsibility. He comes on through. With 63 kilometers an hour, he makes up a gap. But is it enough here as he has used his greater responsibility? Tim still finds himself on the front as Beth uses hers as well further down. But Tim nails, and then Carl moves on the right. Carl has the opportunity here to get boxed in or to box in the other two. He's in trouble, but he gets out safely and he overhauls Tim on the left. He finds himself on the wheel of Niels Heldens, the Tempest of Team Cycling Hub, and from 4th to 2nd place, he moves on up, and he needs these points, but he's still got his power-ups. Quinton, Niels, Carl, Timothy, they have still got every single power-up remaining here. I think the finish is going to be exciting. Who's going to use the... Ooh, Carl. just slides in there to the right, avoids the little obstacle on the left. As we see here on Carl's point of view, you've got the jerseys of Cycling Hub. You've got them left, center, and right. I mean, that is quite the armada. That's quite the Service entourage to have out there as Quintin Molinés comes on through. He wants to get out of the trouble here to try and gain a gap. And Nils and Tim, they're just going to play obstacles. They're just going to play interference. They're going to let Quintin come on through here. He's got a 14-point gap as he now sprints through the logs. 2.5 kilometers left. Only one more race remains after this, which is Dust Bowl Crit. 3 laps, 2-time scoring multiplier, and you've got a plethora of power-ups. As Tim Fulford look further down here, he is just in 3rd place. Carl's on his wheel. Timothy is just hanging on for dear life. He just thinks, if I can stay in, I've got my power-ups, I've got a chance. But Quintin here on the front, it's kind of like the calm before the storm. We all know they've got great responsibility. They've got inertia. They've got corner caper. Now, it's very impressive for Tim still to be in here despite his crash, as I think they're trying to tee up a mistake from Carl. They don't get it. Timothy is back there too, but Cycling Hub have now caught up to the Butts. And Butt Patrol is being lapped out on track, and they all go on through safely. Quintin just getting a bit of draft, stealing a bit of draft here from Howard, saying, thank you very much, Howard. I will repay that favor another day, my friend. I will take the 30%, and I'll see you later. As he comes on through. Carl has been sitting in that draft as he... Ooh. Oh no! I was going to say he was safe. I was thinking Oh, Carl Axel Sander, bring that up on the replay, because that is the 2nd lap in a row. You're thinking, he's playing with fire. He's right there by the obstacle. What are you thinking, Carl? No, Carl! And all you can think of is that Walking Dead meme screaming, Carl! Why, Carl? And then Carl, I think in the end, it's even Howard who gets him down. So corner caper, he throws all the caution into the wind. Here is greater responsibility. We stay with him for a second. As it runs out, he's safe. Now, Quintin Molinés on the front with his greater responsibility. He uses it on the straightaway with inertia. And now that is a 3-second gap. Oh, he has to be careful he doesn't crash. Further back, Niels with his greater responsibility. As I think Timothy Tamont there is in a bit of hurt with Tim Fulford paying back some of the efforts as Niels comes on through. Inertia. He's going to have a chance to catch up to Quintin here. Quintin is leading. Niels comes on through, but if corner caper runs out, oh, and he goes down. This is exactly what happened to Tim Fulford. As you look now, Timothy, I think I saw Timothy use his greater responsibility, but to no avail, as I think Tim may have put a block on him. I'm not too sure, but I do think in the corner of my eye, I saw that. But if that isn't the case, Timothy may still have a power-up or two remaining here for the finish line as Tim pulls on through. But Quintin Molinés executing here to perfection. He is 13 seconds up just like that. And with 400 meters remaining. Oh, Timothy's got a break. He's got to go to the inside. And again, the positioning there being absolutely vital. But currently, the virtual leader on the road, leading by 6 points over his teammate, leading here in Sony, winning country rally so far, seems to be Quintin Molinés. He's got a left-hand turn left, and that's going to be all she wrote here further down. Now, Timothy increasing the wattage. There, he's got greater responsibility. He's trying everything for a last dash effort to the line. He's got to dodge the blocks. He goes on through. He dodges both Niels and Tim, and he comes on through, and he will celebrate his 2nd place. Quintin wins. Timothy 2nd. Tim will be 3rd, Niels will be 4th. Then you've got Sebastian Kuhn versus Carl Axel Sander. Sebastian crosses the line in 5th. We've got Carl Axel Sander in 6th, but he gets caught by Homer Thompson, who is a man who never gives up. He chugs along like the diesel engine he is. And coming into the last race, he will beat Carl Axel Sander on this one with Beth down in 7th. Let's load up the last few instant replays, because how Quintin used his greater responsibility and inertia and corner caper. I mean, that guy has just got brains for days, because You'd think using at the beginning is the biggest momentum change, but how he chained one power-up into another on the final stretch, as we see Carl Axel Sander, he knows what he did. And you can't take it back. The only thing you can do is go back and do a physical replay. But great responsibility on the straightaway, into an inertia, into a corner caper. Quentin Molinez utilizing every single power. Then Nils trying to get back on, but he makes the same mistake Tim did. When you come too fast into the corner and you try and change lanes and the corner caper runs out, it's too difficult. You will see yourself falling down. Then Quentin goes on to win. He can soft pedal to the finishing line, knowing he's got such a big gap here. But then keep an eye on second, third, and fourth. Timothy keeping up his power-ups, leaving them to the very, very last second. And then he knows that the only way he gets beat is by getting blocked by either Nils or Tim to slow down his momentum. Nils moves to the left, Tim moves to the left, and both times Timothy goes on through. Happy with that one. He goes on to take second place and moves up to third overall. Now, let's hear from Quentin. Quentin, you just seem to have those power-ups nailed down. I remember watching you on Country Rally in the after party. Talk me through the logic of how you chained great responsibility into the other power-ups.
Well, I think the option that most people would have taken would be to use great responsibility right before the tight corner, or at the start, like you mentioned, because you can then use your great responsibility, go to like 60k an hour, use your corner caper in the corner where everybody needs to slow down to 40, and then just get a very quick transition through the technical bit. But I figured I could use it on the straight, so I could build up momentum, and then just use my inertia to pretty much lengthen my greater responsibility. The corner cape was just needed to not crash, so that was just a lucky thing to have.
Well, it was genius, Quentin, but now you and Tim, first and second, we know how much of a beast Tim is on this track. Is there a bit of infighting on this one? Is there going to be a bit of measuring competition?
Nah, we measured enough and we know who has what. So I'm just going to finish in his wheel and then I'll be winning the Omnium as well. So
I love it. Well, good luck in this race. Let's go and hear from Tim and get his take. Tim, that last race, your crash, I mean, so close to perfection, and then it all just goes tumbling down.
Yeah, I pushed corner keeper a little bit too early, I think. I've done that once before and it had to be so tight. Yeah, it's tough luck, but I got far ahead enough that I was still in the front bunch. So it was a matter of just waiting to see when those not on Cycling Hub would use their power-ups and see if we can prevent them getting ahead of us. Carl put himself in an awkward position, so I'm not going to let him out of that one. Yeah, we'll see what happens coming up now. This could get rather sore, but I think it's 6 efforts up those hills and then it's all over for the day, and we'll see what we can do.
You heard Quentin say he's just going to stick on your wheel and win the Omnium. Are you going to let him try and stick on your wheel?
That is a bit hard because I was going to stick on his wheel.
Well, we'll see. It could be that you'll both find yourself in 17th and 18th if you just continue trying to sit on each other's wheels. Good luck here in this next race. Creeping back into third, though, Timothy Termont. Your heart must have been up in your throat as you used greater responsibility and you see Nils move 2 over, you see Tim move on 2 over. How was that?
Yeah, I'm just very thankful it was corner caper and not uncrashable that we had. That way they just couldn't dive bomb me to stop me. So yeah, I was a little bit less hard up my throat because I just took the inside, moved out. But great use of power-ups.
You've got to finish this off. You've got Nils close, you've got Carl close. Man, I know you said you were suffering, but are you able to dig deep one last time?
Well, I'm going to, but we'll see how deep it is that I can dig. Yeah, it's 3 laps, not 4 or 5, so that's a bit better then, I guess. But yeah, always see the positive, you know.
Well, good luck in this one. We got 50 seconds remaining. I'll let the rest up because it's been a very, very tough Omnium so far. You look at these races and you go, you know, there's no Summit Islands, there's no Rocky Mountains, there's no Temple Run, there's no Roman Arena. These are fine. Then it just sneakily, like Sci-Fi R Loop, it's just a different level of intensity that you've gotta adjust yourself to. So these racers getting ready for the last race here in Zone E. We've got more racing tonight in Zones K and L, and then on Tuesday, I can't wait. Dedicated team racing, testing. We're going to see some head-to-heads. We're going to see some everybody against everybody. I think this is the right way to go, and I can't wait to see how that pans out in the very near future. But for the time being, Dust Bowl Crit, Zone E on a Saturday. Let's finish with a bang, everybody. Empty the tank. Everything you've got here, let's see it. As Niels Helden's proud Dutchie stands up here, as you can see the kit. He sits on the wheel of Quentin Molyneux. So Tim saying he was going to stick on the wheel of Quentin, choosing so far to take a more relaxed approach. Down in 7th, he's in 4th overall, but he just knows how to race this track. He goes to the left of Beth, of Carl, of Sebastian, goes out through the traffic, not too worried about the initial boost here. And then you look further up, Timothy Tamont sticking to Niels's wheel. Quentin's currently winning. He's winning the Omnium, but anything can change. One crash, one poor decision, and you go from 1st to 4th. This Omnium is so close. It's so tight at the top. You gotta fight every battle like it's your last one. Niels, Quentin, Timothy, they stand on their steeds. They push down the pressure here. But Tim is coming back quickly. This is where Tim makes his bread and butter. These sort of corners, he knows exactly how to push it, how far to go to maximize every single advantage. The marginal gains that he understands on this track is fantastical. As Sebastian in the corner goes crashing down. Timothy in 2nd, Niels in 1st, and now Tim, you can see him resting up, knowing he's going to have to slow down, and I think he's going to attack this incline. We've got one weight lifted, one racer's edge, one inertia, and one wind at your back. Over 3 laps, how are you going to utilize them? That's really what matters here. That's what's going to determine the victory at the end as we get ready to see Tim Fulford. He is coming through here on the incline. He's still in 4th, 43 kilometers an hour. He is currently finding himself, he was 2nd overall, now he is 3rd as Timothy comes to the front. And Timothy is 2nd, 8 points behind as Beth Yorick falls down and she finds herself with Sebastian. But this is a hotly contested race at the front. Tim Fulford out of the draft, fighting his own fights. He comes through Boulder Alley and he stands up again. No wind, hasn't used the power up yet. He wants to go back in. He wants to get back on terms with the chasing group here as Timothy Tamont leads it on the front. Looks like he's a man on a mission. Looks like he's found a second wind here as he's the one laying down the hurt instead of being the one receiving it. And he sits on the outside here trying to force a mistake out of the other two. But instead, he just takes the long way around as he stands up again. But Tim now forced to use the wind at his back. He's here, he's accelerating, he wants to get to the front, and he gets blocked by Timothy, and then he gets blocked, and he blocks his teammate. Save that one on the replay, because that will be discussed later on, as Tim using a power up there, and now he's in control. He's come from the back, he's fought through the hills, and now he's where he wants to be. It's taken him an entire lap, but he's where he wants to be right now. In front, in control, in charge of the pace as Niels Heldens comes on through to his left. So the standings, Tim currently winning, Quentin 2nd, Niels 3rd, and Timothy in 4th by half a point as Niels goes on through. Now Tim on the inside again. This is what we expected. Slowly but surely, every lap, like Lewis Hamilton, just increasing the best times out on track as Timothy Tamont sits in the wheel here. The Pink Panther trying to fight for the draft. There's only a lap and a half left here as Carl Axel Sander goes down in 7th place. Tim starts on the outside of this corner. He's at 50 kilometers an hour here. Then he slows down to 33. Meanwhile, Timothy taking a more relaxed approach. And just like that, Tim gained a second. One very difficult chicane. If you apex it, you gain a second, and that's what Tim did. Now, weight lifted, he gets ready. I think this is where we see the inertia from Tim. 52, 53, 54. Now, Timothy with a very late weight lifted as well. But no inertia from Tim. No inertia, keeping the powder dry for the time being. As Tim, you can see him on the screen. He fights on through. The light shines through the window behind him, giving him that light glaze of just the Holy Spirit. As Tim Fulford, 190 equalized heart rate, 193 for Timothy. And these two, just a class of their own currently, as Niels Heldens is trying to get back on terms. He's 2 seconds back, but he finds himself in fourth. But currently, Tim Fulford is winning the Omnium. Quentin is in second. All Quentin's got to do, though, is beat Niels, I believe. If you look at it, Quentin 42, Niels 46. So, yes, it would be a 4... Actually, if he beats Niels, he only gains 4 points, which would still lose by half a point. So, Quentin needs to come through both Timothy and Niels as we get ready for the last lap of racing here. This is going to be tense. But who's got anything left? Tim comes on through, 193. Timothy comes on through. Inertia remains. Wind at your back remains. And Racer's Edge. I think this is going to be a... Oh, Timothy again with a block on Niels. So Timothy running out of energy. Niels goes, you know what? I don't tolerate that behavior. I'm just going to leave you in my wake. Eat dust here on Dust Bowl Crit. So Racer's Edge gets activated. He goes on through. He doesn't want to be anywhere near that negative racing. And a 193 here. He knows, one more race, one more lap, that's it. I can sit my legs up, I can have a Sunday fudge ice cream, or what it was Beth said the other day, I can't remember, as Niels is fighting on through. Quentin, though, needs one more spot. If we bring down the Omnium scoreboard, it is half a point. Quentin is half a point of winning this one. He needs to beat his teammate. And we know, I think Quentin wants to win this one. You heard the fighting talk in the interview. He goes past Niels here as he will now be the virtual leader on the road by 6 points over Tim. As he just has to finish like this, he's fine. Second place, all he needs to do, don't crash and you're fine. But now the question remains for Niels, because Niels needs to beat Quentin to finish on the podium. These are two storylines fighting. Quentin needs to beat Niels to win. Niels needs to beat Quentin to get on the podium. Which of the two wants it more? Who's got the power? Who's got the last bit of energy? As you see, wind at his back, weight lifted from Niels here, trying to catch up to Quentin. Quentin with a 55 inertia, Tim with a 51. This is going to be a hotly contested finish. It looks like Timothy's out of the view here, so 3 racers remain. Can Quentin Molinez get back on to Tim Fulford? He's almost there. All he needs to do is keep the Tempest at bay. But that is a difficult task because Niels Heldens, he knows how to fly. He knows how to choose his aircraft. He's going to come on through here and give it a fight to the end. Tim stands up. 400 meters remain. He's already got 2 hours in the hurt locker today, adding another hour to it here. That's 2 seconds in between every single rider. You can see the scoreboard on the left. Tim Fulford is going to win the race no matter what, I think. But will he take the Omnium? Timothy goes down. That riles on Niels Heldens currently. Can he come on through? As we see Tim Fulford, Niels Heldens, Quentin Molinez. I think the positions have all been scraped up. Fantastic Omnium here on Saturday. Quentin wins the Omnium, Tim wins the stage, Niels Heldens takes third, but he takes fourth on the Omnium. He can be happy with that. Strong performance from Team Cycling Hub. Timothy next on through. He will finish third from his strong finish on Country Rally. Then we've got Sebastian Kuhn, who... you heard him say it on Sci-Fi R Loop. It's not always fun to be at the back. You've got to, light things up, and such he did today as Timothy finishes here on Dust Bowl Crit. Thumbs up, Sebastian Kuhn. Highlight of the stream as always. A light of sunshine, just an amazing guy to have on the stream. Good to see him do well. Homer will come 6th. Then we have Carl Axel Sander out in 7th. He was playing mind games today. He just came in with a different mindset. He wanted to mess with some people. He wanted to have some fun. And it looks like he did. And he got a great workout. And then, of course, over from the east coast of the US, Beth, in the early mornings here, she's on the audio chat with Carl. She joined in the action as well, as she will finish 8th on the podium. You can see the smile as we load up the instant replays. It's crazy how Tim does it. I mean, starting at the end, never panicking, just every lap, just gaining back time, clawing back, just every lap, just better and better and better. He attacks, and he never really looks back. And this is where Timothy blocked Niels. He blocked Tim, and then who also blocked Niels. So, dominoes in effect here. Quinten winning the Omnium, getting second across the board, most consistent of the day. But the way they fought, the way they competed, all three for Team Cycling Hub, they know the last individual day in quite a while, so you want to take top spot. So thank you to all of Team Cycling Hub on the front for making it very fun to watch, very competitive. It was a good storyline between all three coming through here. And as you watch to the end, Tim Fulford can pop his Racer's Edge, or Racer Blade as Beth likes to call it. He will win Dust Bowl Crit. Quinten can breathe a sigh of relief as he knows he's got the Omnium, and Niels can be happy that across the board here they took a really good result. But Quinten, congratulations. I know this streak has ended, but is this the start of a new streak?
No, don't even try and put that pressure on me. I'm not going to take the pressure.
Oh, well, it could be a streak for Team Cycling Hub as the team league is just around the corner. But describe how today went for you and the team. It looked like Niels, despite finishing 4th, he was happy with it. You three, you kind of had each other's fates in your hands.
Yeah, I was looking at the scoreboard, and if I was a little bit more of a teammate, I could have let Niels pass me. So we would have taken the 3rd spot on the podium, but that would have meant that Tim would have won. And my ego is too big to let that happen.
Well, I think we can all accept that apology and that honesty, Quinten, but I'm not sure if Tim can. So we'll go to him in a second. But Quinten, I want to get your thoughts. Next week, Tuesday, we're going to be testing some team-oriented racing. What do you think about that change?
It's a change for sure. I don't really know what to expect from it. I have experience with the team league. But I'm not sure how well this league will look like the team league. But I'm definitely looking forward to it.
That is what I like to hear. Let's go and hear from Tim. Tim, Quinten's ego was simply too large to let you win. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I won 2 on Thursday. Quinten hadn't won one all week, so he was probably feeling a bit left out. That all comes down to Timothy signing his own death warrant, really. Dust Bowl Crit is a perfect example that he hasn't got it. And perhaps Cycling Hub were dragging him around to results before he left the team. Because blocking someone on the 2nd lap, then trying to block Niels, and then he's just nowhere. So, yeah, great racing, really good fun. Niels went hard, Quinten went hard. Timothy blew many matches and then went off the back. So, it's all good fun. I'm now into my 4th hour of the day. So, yeah, really, legs feel really good. Looking forward to the team league.
I think all of us are looking forward to it. Also, I think a lot of us just watch Dust Bowl Crit and try and dissect how you keep on doing it. So I'm expecting a lot of people to use this as a case study on how to get better. But congratulations, Tim, on taking the stage win and 2nd in the overall. But Timothy, what is your report? What is your return to that? Carried around by Team Cycling Hub, just don't have it. What do you think? Oh, I think he might have left. I think Timothy was so hurt that he's just jumped off the bike. He's left the building. So seems like Timothy needed to get some paper napkins or something to to wipe off the tears after that attack. But good to see the rivalry starting to get on display. That is what's so fun about CVRcade, is that in virtual racing like this, you get every decision gets magnified. Every decision just, it rolls on. It's like the snowball effect. Something you did on November 7th, 2019, it's going to come back to haunt you in 2020 on January the 18th. And that's kind of what makes it so fun. Like, it's pretty much like watching wrestling storylines unfolding. Let's go and hear from Carl. Carl, we had you back in the... Oh, I'm not even sure Carl's got his headphones on. We'll go to Carl in a second instead. Nils, 4th place on the day. In the end, you, Quinten, you kind of controlled each other's fate. What about you? Were you letting Quinten win that one, or were you actually trying to push him?
I was trying to push him, you know. This isn't charity, this is racing. So, you know, even though we're in the same team, I like to have cattle on third and whatever, or cycling podium. But you know, I can understand Quinten's decision, and I would have done the same, to be honest. So I'm not going to judge him for it. And it was quite fun racing, anyways. And it's always nice to see a teammate to get beaten by a teammate than by someone who isn't a teammate. So I'm not too bothered, really. Yeah, it was fun. It was good to see that the team did well and bodes well for the upcoming team league.
At the end of the day, that's all that matters. You had fun, you got a good exercise in, and it was all for free. So, Nils, good to see you out there. 4th place on the Omnium. Excited to see what Team Cycling Hub can bring on Tuesday when we test out some team-oriented racing. 6th place was Sebastian. If we still, I think we still got Sebastian. He's gone. He's gotten ready to have his lunch, have his another 5th coffee of the day, perhaps. But we do have Beth in here as well. Beth, early in the morning, I know you and Carl were chatting some strategy. What was the mood in the team today?
Well, you know, Carl and I had some communication issues in the first 2 races, so we weren't as coordinated as we wanted to be. We did resolve that. I just muted him. So, Carl, if you were listening mid-sentence, but, you know, I was saying to him that, you know, I woke up, I wasn't really planning to race, and I was like, I got onto Sci-Fi, and I'm like, I want to race, you know, because CVRcade has this way of making you want to go, you know, and I think that these are the times to make the mistakes. I mean, we don't see mistakes from the Cycling Hub team. They're just so fine-tuned. So we were together on Dust Bowl Crit in the first lap there. I misjudged again the corner speed on that first lap, coming down the hill, thinking we were going to be able to close it. And just always my issues, I'm always just a little too amped up. I'm a little too eager. So I think that it's a mental game to tamper down my competitiveness and let that translate into my legs a little bit more. And but once your heart rate gets up and you're racing, it's really hard to dial it back and be focused. So I have some opportunities for improvement, and I'm looking forward to bringing that into the racing in this coming season.
It is incredibly difficult to understand the concept of you have to go slow in order to go fast. It's something that Frank Garcia pioneered, and once you get it, you get a lot. But like Tim, the way he raced, I think a lot of people could learn that his composure, the way he just knew he had it in him, was fantastic. Well, thank you, Beth. Good to see you racing out here. Look forward to seeing Velocity Vixen on Tuesday as well. We got more racing tonight, of course. We've got zones K and L tonight as we round out the last bit of individual racing testing for a bit here as we get ready to test team-oriented racing. I can't wait for that on Tuesday. I think that's really going to shake some things up. It's going to force teams to come together, discuss strategy, and really nail down their, their plan of attack. But as you can see the scoreboard, Quinten wins, Tim is second. Timothy, who left prematurely before the interview, maybe the commissioners of CVRcade have to hand a fine in his direction for his neglection of media duties. Nils gets fourth, Carl fifth, Sebastian sixth. Homer, thank you very much for joining us today, Homer, Beth, and thank you for watching. We'll be back in, 5 hours time for zones K and L. But until then, if you click the follow button down below, you'll get notified when we go live. And we'll see you. But no, Beth, yours goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marvels. Kayla versus Allison, and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory.